2021. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Crawley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. For those calling in, please ensure that you have muted your phone line by pressing *6. We appreciate your cooperation. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of July 20th, 2021 general session and the July 22nd, 2021 briefing session?
So moved.
Second?
Moved and second voting, Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Minutes have been approved.
Great. First is Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 564-21, resolution expressing the enduring support of the Board of Commissioners for the right of workers to organize and collectively bargain and for strong legal and policy protections of that right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lauren Rummel, Director of Government Affairs. As was mentioned, this resolution emphasizes the board's longstanding support of the right of workers to organize and collectively bargain for better wages, working conditions, and protections. It also reiterates that organized labor increases wages and reduces income inequality. Further, it expresses, in this case, support for the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, the PRO Act. This is legislation that has passed the U.S. House and is currently pending before the Senate. The PRO Act proposes to significantly strengthen and protect the rights of workers to organize and hold accountable employers that violate labor laws. The resolution also directs staff to forward copies to members of our congressional delegation. Happy to introduce here with us this morning to share more about the PRO Act and speak to this resolution is Dorsey Hager, Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Columbus Building Trades Council, John Lacey, Chairman of the Labor and Industry Committee for the Columbus NAACP, and Mark Fluharty, Executive Director of the AFL-CIO Central Ohio Labor Council. So let's go in the order, if we could, that I just listed, and I'll turn it over to you, Dorsey.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Commissioners, everybody else on the meeting, Zoom, thank you so much. My name is Dorsey Hager. I'm currently the Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Columbus and Central Ohio Building and Construction Trades Council. The Columbus Building Trades represents 18,000 highly skilled tradespeople here in Columbus and in Central Ohio. I'm here today to offer my support for the PRO Act. Union membership has been declining for nearly 6 decades as conservatives and corporate bosses have chipped away at the rights of workers to collectively bargain. The Protecting the Right to Organize Act, or PRO Act, aims to fix that, but it's currently lying stagnant in Washington. A new coalition of over 40 progressive organizations called the Worker Power Coalition was launched to push Congress to pass the PRO Act. They will focus specifically on pushing Democrats, and particularly with an ad campaign in states that they say are key to securing a majority for this proposal. This coalition is made up of influential organizations representing a wide range of interests. Members of the Worker Power Coalition include political organizations like Move On and the Working Families Party, and climate groups like the Sunrise Movement, Greenpeace, and the Sierra Club, and other organizations like the Economic Policy Institute. It also has the backing of several major labor organizations like the Communication Workers of America and the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades, just to name a few. The proposal has been championed by labor and climate organizers, as well as progressive and democratic lawmakers, as the most consequential pro-labor legislation of this generation. The PRO Act would roll back right to work, or as we like to say, right to work for less laws that hamper labor unions. It would also create harsher penalties for illegal union busting efforts and protect contracted workers by allowing them to unionize alongside their fellow employees. However, like I stated, this bill is currently lying stagnant after having passed the House. The Senate filibuster and a couple of Democratic senators currently stand in its way. Advocates have been able to flip key centrists like Senators Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Mark Kelly of Arizona into supporting the act, but other senators like Kirsten Sinema of Arizona and Mark Warner of Virginia are still holding out. Passage of the act isn't a political issue. It's an issue of dignity and fairness for the people who have spent the last year and a half risking their lives to keep the rest of us safe. The PRO Act sets a new standard of dignity and fairness in the workplace and helps essential workers to meet their basic needs on and off the job, from improving benefits and increased job safety to protecting workers' rights. Polling shows broad support for passing the entirety of the PRO Act. A recent poll by the Hart Research Associates showed that in 9 key battleground states, states like Virginia, Arizona, and West Virginia, 63% of likely voters support the act, with 87% of Democrats being in favor. Even among Republicans, 45% are in favor of this legislation. The Senate should feel reassured by polling that shows voters overwhelmingly support penalizing companies when they violate workers' rights or misclassify workers as independent contractors, denying them their rights as employees. One only has to look close to home at our own workforce development programs. Building Futures and Driving Futures, our partnership with the county and the Columbus Urban League, to see how union membership gives members of our community the opportunity to get on the direct path to the middle class. Driving Futures recently graduated a class where the graduation rate was 100%. 100% of those graduates were also placed, and the average starting salary was $64,000 a year. Building Futures recently placed our 100th graduate. The graduation rate of that program currently stands at 88%, with the placement rate at 85%, with the average starting wage at $20.64 an hour. All these jobs are union jobs with the IBEW, United Association, IUPAT, insulators, ironworkers, laborers, bricklayers, cement masons, and the Teamsters, just to name a few, and they all include pensions and healthcare benefits and all the rights and protections afforded working under a collective bargaining agreement. I want to thank you for your continued support of the working men and women of Franklin County, and also for your support of the PRO Act. Thank you.
Is John or Mark going to speak, or are you speaking?
Yes.
Were they going to speak, Lauren?
Yes, Commissioner. Good morning. My name is John Lacey. Well, first off, greetings, commissioners, elected officials, and guests. My name is John Lacey, the second chairman of the Labor and Industry Committee for the Columbus, Ohio branch of the NAACP. I am also international union representative for the 2.4 million members of ASCME. As a community activist, I am also involved with the following organizations in the following capacities. Currently president of the Franklin County chapter of the A. Randolph Institute, vice president of the Columbus, Ohio chapter of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists, as well as vice president of the Central Ohio Labor Council. The Columbus, Ohio branch of the NAACP stands in support of the resolution presented today by the Franklin County Commissioners in support of the PRO Act, which is pending Senate approval. This legislation is particularly important at this current time when union density is at 10% and employer profits continue to rise. Belonging to a union or living in a state where organized labor is strong helps lower the likelihood that you will fall into poverty. Households in which there was at least one union member had an average poverty rate of 5.9% compared with 18.9% for non-union households. When working people have the freedom to join a union, they have a voice on the job and they can earn more money for themselves, their families, and their communities. The PRO Act would allow workers not to fear employers who use coercion, intimidation tactics, and retaliatory threats against workers trying to organize. You should not fear for your job simply for exercising the right to band together in the workplace. The union difference is undeniable. The union members earn higher wages, enjoy superior health benefits, and have greater retirement benefits. This is not any bill. It is also civil rights legislation protecting people of color, women, immigrants, and the LGBTQ community, putting more money in the pockets of workers, which helps the economy build back better. It is an opportunity for more than 60 million workers who want to join a union, but have not found the path to under the current laws. In closing, the PRO Act will strengthen labor laws to create accountability for these union busting stunts. These long overdue labor law reforms will allow millions more people to experience the power of the union difference. They will level the playing field for workers, grow the middle class, and help build an inclusive economy that works for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, did you want to say a few words?
I'm here. Good morning, commissioners, esteemed guests, and colleagues. My name is Mark Fluharty. I want to share a story that's closer to home. I'm the executive director of the Central Ohio Labor Council, AFL-CIO. The Central Ohio Labor Council represents over 55,000 working men and women in our Central Ohio community. In addition to my service at the Labor Council, I also sit on the executive board of the United Way of Central Ohio. I have spent over 30 years of service in the labor movement here in Central Ohio, and during my time as a member and as an elected leader, I have watched countless families join the middle class and finally achieve both economic and housing stability because of having a union job. A recent study from the Economic Policy Institute found that unions helped raise wages for all workers, but are especially impactful for women and workers and reduce racial economic disparities. According to this study, workers that form a union are more likely to have affordable health care, access to paid leave, retirement programs, and many other benefits. According to the Center for American Progress, homeownership rates for non-white Americans are significantly higher for those that are in labor unions. Now for a story from our own community. Last year, a group of workers for Habitat for Humanity Mid-Ohio sought to form a union so that they could have a chance at their American dream. I'm proud that members of this council, the Franklin County Commissioners, Sherrod Brown, and others spoke up and advocated to E.J. Thomas, the CEO of Habitat Mid-Ohio, that the organization should do the right thing and recognize their union and work with them to improve their workplace. Unfortunately, Mr. Thomas did the exact opposite. And I will point out again, a letter from these very commissioners asking them to remain neutral. He flat out rejected these union efforts, refusing to recognize the union, then hired a union busting lawyer, choosing to spend the organization's precious funds during an economic downturn to oppose the efforts of these workers to have a voice in their workplace. He then went one further step and terminated several union supporters under the guise of financial issues from COVID-19. While many of these workers seeking to form a union were making barely $15 an hour, or roughly $31,000 per year. According to Habitat Mid-Ohio's most recent tax return publicly available, Mr. Thomas enjoyed a salary of $324,357. Again, $324,357, and his workers are trying to form a union making $15 an hour. Ultimately, these union busting efforts worked. The effort failed by a single vote, again after firing several union supporters. This would be disappointing from any employer. But the fact that this was Habitat for Humanity shocked both me and the labor community. This past week, I met with CEO Thomas and Councilmember Rob Dorns to share my views of the subject. At that meeting, I suggested a pathway for Habitat Mid-Ohio to redeem itself as a respected member of the nonprofit service community. A labor peace agreement, yes, a labor peace agreement, would ensure that workers at Habitat could have had the opportunity to form a union if they so choose without interference from CEO Thomas and his expensive union busting law firm. It is with deep disappointment that I learned yesterday that my suggestion was rejected. This is why the PRO Act is important in our communities for workers. The odds and the playing field is stacked against those that are trying to better themselves. I want to thank the commissioners for their support and recognition of collective bargaining in our community and their guidance and assistance in trying to help workers organize in our community, and your support of the PRO Act. This is why we need change. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, let me offer my colleagues, do you have any?
Well, Mark, thank you. Mr. Lacy, Mr. Hager, appreciate you guys being with us this morning. Sorry for being late. You know, we have been supporting collective bargaining at the Board of County Commissioners and previous to being members, all of us previous to being members of the Board of County Commissioners for quite some time, and we appreciate all the work that you guys are doing in this area and other areas, and so thank you for all the work that you guys are doing. Obviously not shocked by Mr. Thomas's, he's got a history. He's had a history for a long time, both as an elected official and as a leader of Habitat for Humanity. It's a shame that that's his record. We do business with Habitat for Humanity, and maybe this board needs to step up and do more in our negotiations and conversations with Habitat going forward. We do work with them in the housing realm, so maybe we need to be a little bit more proactive in our conversations with him in that regard. But thanks for being here today. Appreciate everything you guys are doing.
If I may, thank you, President Boyce. I just want to echo the remarks of Commissioner O'Grady. I'm coming from a family of union workers. I appreciate the work that you all continue to do, as well as your members, to fight for workers' rights and the ability to collectively bargain. I have seen firsthand in my time in the legislature the attacks on workers' ability to collectively bargain, as well as all other right-to-work issues, PLA agreements, all of that. And so see it from that perspective. Happy to support the PRO Act at the federal level, and I'm happy to have this resolution before us today. So again, thank you for all that you do.
And thank you to my colleagues. The only thing I'll add is, you know, I said this last week that, actually in briefing, but I'm going to say it again too, so I'll just warn you when the other resolution comes. But the best social service is a good paying job. And at the heart of the measurement of any quality of life is where you live, what you can eat each day, your ability to take care of your family. And, you know, we've tried to invest in that through building futures and driving futures, but it's not enough. You know, in order for Central Ohio to be a great place to live, work, and raise your family, it means that everyone has to have access to opportunity, access to a good paying job, a good place to live, and all of the things that allow us to be a family and thrive as a family. And so I want to just thank all of you for coming today and promoting the PRO Act, but more importantly, thank you for what you do every day to ensure that quality of life, that access to opportunity is a part of the equation for everybody. And that's really what this is about today, is the idea that no matter where you live, no matter who you are, no matter what your skill set are, that you too can access a part of the American dream. And a good paying job is fundamental to that. And so we stand by you, we stand with you, and certainly we encourage the advocacy that you're doing to go far beyond today and far beyond the halls in Washington, and let everyone know so that you too, those folks listening, can be a part of what's fundamental to a great place to live, work, and raise a family. So thank you so much. And at this time, is there a motion for the resolution?
If there are no further comments or questions, I move to approve Resolution 564-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 564-21 has been adopted.
Great, thank you. Next, coroner.
Resolution number 565-21. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Coroner to sign an agreement with Nationwide Children's Hospital for non-hospital teaching agreement.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Amanda Alvarez. I'm the Director of Operations with the Coroner's Office. This resolution will authorize the coroner to sign an agreement with Nationwide Children's Hospital for a medical resident fellows to conduct a forensic rotation with the Coroner's Office. This will provide those residents with the opportunity to learn from our forensic pathologists during the examination process, but also from the other professionals within the Coroner's Office regarding medical legal death investigation. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those. If not, I ask for your approval for authorizing Dr. Ortiz to sign this agreement.
Are there any comments or questions on this resolution? Okay. Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 56521.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 565-21 has been adopted. Resolution number 566-21. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Coroner to sign an agreement with Ohio University Heritage College of Medicine for non-hospital teaching agreement.
So the second is similar to the other agreement. However, this one is with the Ohio University Heritage College of Medicine. So this resolution will authorize the coroner to sign the agreement with Ohio University Heritage College of Medicine to allow for the medical students to conduct a forensic rotation with the coroner's office. This will provide the medical students with the opportunity to learn from our forensic pathologist, as well as from the other professionals regarding medical legal death investigation. If you have any questions, please ask. If not, I ask for your approval of this resolution for Dr. Ortiz to sign the agreement.
Any comments or questions? No. Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 56621.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 566-21 has been adopted. Resolution number 567-21. Resolution authorizing the transfer of general fund appropriations for the purchase of materials and services.
All right, in our last resolution, Commissioners, this resolution authorizes the transfer of general fund appropriations from the Commissioner's contingency to the coroner's office for the amount of $225,000 for body transport services, forensic pathologist recruiting, and for medical supplies that are needed. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval of this resolution.
Any comments or questions?
No.
Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 56721.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 567-21 has been adopted.
You know, Amanda, I don't really let anybody get by with much, so I noticed that hat on your skeleton in the back.
Oh.
That is awful. Is that an indication on the skeleton? Is that an indication of how anemic the Yankees are playing this season?
Well, I've had this hat since the Clippers were the farm team for the Yankees,
that's no
so
excuse.
yeah, it's
That's
like
no
old.
We can
Like
get you a new Guardians.
probably get
hat.
a lot of money for it, maybe.
We can get you a new Guardians hat to put on that skeleton. You know, that's easily done. I'll make a phone
If
call
you
to Ken
send me one, I'll
Schnocky.
put it on there for you.
Okay, okay.
Thank you. Next is the engineer.
Thanks.
Resolution number 568-21. Resolution determining that a real and present emergency exists and that there is physical disaster to the Borough Road 0.11 over tributary over Strader Ditch, JAC-TR 266-0.11, structure, Jackson Township, Franklin County, Ohio, and authorizing the Franklin County engineer to provide services as necessary for the immediate replacement of said structure in the amount of $168,281.11.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Cornell Robertson, Franklin County Engineer for every resident, every day. With me today is Ed Herrick, our bridge engineer, to help me present our first resolution. Commissioners, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. This bridge replacement project is in the southwest part of the county in Jackson Township along Bloor Road over a tributary of Strader Ditch. Commissioners, most resolutions we bring before you are common, reoccurring resolutions that we present on an annual basis, once every 2 years, or at the various stages of designing, building, and maintaining our roads, bridges, pedestrian facilities, and drainage infrastructure as required by the Ohio Revised Code. Today's resolution for Boer Road Bridge is unique and of a type rarely requested by me, an emergency declaration to declare Boer Road Bridge over a tributary of Strader Ditch an emergency. I have served as the Franklin County engineer 4 years and have only requested declaration of emergency 3 times during those 4 years. As we have learned from the prosecuting attorney's office, declarations of emergency are unique, special resolutions that require actual physical disaster and a unanimous vote of approval by the Board of Commissioners. Boer Road Bridge's actual physical disaster includes a concrete deck that is no longer waterproof and has become saturated with moisture, which has corroded the internal reinforcing steel bars, thereby causing the surrounding concrete to delaminate. Concrete and steel work well together because concrete is strong in resisting compression, while steel is strong in resisting tension. But this combination is weakened when the steel rusts and when the concrete delaminates. Another actual physical disaster of this Boer Road Bridge is that the bridge's overall rating has decreased progressively faster than anticipated for a bridge of this design and age. We are asking for your unanimous approval of this resolution, which will allow our own Franklin County engineer crews to replace this bridge still in 2021 without going through the competitive bid process. Our crews have the skill, the equipment, the materials, the capacity, and the availability to rebuild this bridge. We have already put this bridge construction out for competitive bid twice, received bids, but none were acceptable within the 110% ceiling of our bid estimate. In the spirit of being proactively transparent, last week I contacted Chris Runyon, president of Ohio Contractors Association, and let him know of the situation. He appreciated that I contacted him and that we put it out not only once, but twice for competitive bid. He is aware of the emergency declaration process and understands why I am pursuing it. We also contacted the Auditor of State's office on this situation. They advised us to work with both the Board of Commissioners and the County Prosecutor's Office, both of which we are doing. As I stated at this year's July 6th general session, we are seeing fewer bids for our construction projects in general. Had one project that received no bids at all, and this Boer Road Bridge received no acceptable bids. It may be a result of coming out of the unfortunate COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, the good rebound of our economy, and contractors having their plates full with plenty of work. I'm not sure. But I'm seeing this at my own home where I need to get a new roof. And home improvement contractors are so busy that I'm on a waiting list with a roof that leaks. I cannot replace my roof myself. But with your approval, we, at the Franklin County Engineer's Office, can replace this Boer Road Bridge. Commissioners, I don't want to alarm you or our constituents. This bridge is not at the point of imminent failure. However, we have put it out again, not only once, but twice for competitive bid with no acceptable bids received. Adopting this resolution will allow the engineer's office to rebuild the bridge with our own forces. If this declaration of emergency resolution is not unanimously approved, then we will continue to monitor the condition of the bridge. However, our construction season is running out, and it's important for our crews to start its replacement in August. In addition, if this resolution is not unanimously approved, I will likely close the bridge in October, so it does not go through another winter of freezing and thawing. I do not want to risk a sudden collapse of this bridge during winter, knowing its progressive trajectory of deterioration, corroded reinforcement steel, and delaminated concrete. To summarize, this Boer Road Bridge is in a state of emergency with actual physical disaster, as documented by today's presentation. We also have a PowerPoint presentation with photos which we will give to the clerk to include in the record for additional documentation. Commissioners, I respectfully request your unanimous approval of this resolution declaring Boer Road Bridge over a tributary of Strader Ditch an emergency. Bridge engineer Ed Herrick and I are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions? If there aren't any questions, I will defer to Attorney Hummer. Since this is an emergency resolution, if you could provide guidance.
Good morning, Commissioners. The county engineer has correctly set forth what is required under 307-86. What is the role of the Commissioners is to make a determination, and that determination be entered into the minutes that a real and present danger emergency exists, and therefore that allows him to move forward without the competitive bidding process to take place. He has presented evidentiary documentation by virtue of the PowerPoint as well as his testimony today to the Commissioners to allow you to move forward. I would merely state that in addition to the resolution, that you as a board make sure that the determination is entered into the minutes as a joint determination of the emergency.
Engineer Robertson, what's the cost of the bridge? What's the amount?
In using our own crews, it will be approximately $168,000. The lowest bid that we received during the process of competitive bid was about $279,000. So in addition to the need of moving quickly on this bridge replacement, our constituents will realize a savings of close to 50% compared to the competitive bid process. And that's not going to be the case for every bridge. We don't have the ability in-house to replace all bridges. However, this particular bridge is certainly within our wheelhouse. And so it will be most appropriate, I feel, to utilize this process and have our own crews do the work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If there are no questions, any additional questions or comments, I would move to approve Resolution 56821, but also in the record, if there could be a statement for the findings that the engineer laid out with regard to the emergency resolution and the need for it due to the condition of the bridge.
The clerk's office will ensure that it is appropriately reflected in today's minutes.
Thank you. So with that, I move to approve Resolution 56821.
Second.
Moved and second voting. Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 568-21 has been adopted. Resolution number 569-21, resolution authorizing County Engineer Cornell Robertson to submit applications and execute project agreements on behalf of Franklin County for Ohio Public Works Commission funding of road and bridges projects.
This resolution will allow the engineer's office to submit grant applications and execute project agreements for funding administered by OPWC, Ohio Public Works Commission. Applications will be submitted in September of 2021, and project awards will be made later this year. While a final determination has not been made on exactly which projects will be submitted this round, the following 5 projects are likely candidates: Norton Road, Croc Road, and Grove City Road Roundabout in Pleasant Township. Reynoldsburg New Albany Road at Havens Road Roundabout in Jefferson Township. State Route 317 at Roar Road Roundabout in Madison Township. Sunbury Road at Woodward Avenue Bridge Rehabilitation and Widening in Mifflin Township. And Ferris Road at Walford Street Roundabout in Clinton Township. Pending any questions, I request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I move to approve Resolution 56921.
Second.
Move to second and voting, Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 569-21 has been adopted.
Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. Next is the treasurer.
Resolution number 570-21. Resolution authorizing a contract with Gordon Fletch Company Incorporated to provide printer, copier lease maintenance and support for the printer fleet upgrade in the amount of $15,000.
Good morning, Dustin Colhorst with the Treasurer's Office. I'm the IT Director. The Treasurer's Office has reviewed the current printing capabilities and discovered the current print fleet no longer satisfies the required print volumes of the Franklin County Treasurer's Office. The current print fleet has extremely high print counts, and the current print volumes necessitate an additional 3 copiers. The Treasurer's Office current print fleet is over 7 years old, and it doesn't allow for modern printing capabilities such as color and high print per page capabilities. With a modern print lease, a reduction in associated costs is expected. Pending any questions, we request the approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I move to approve Resolution 570-21.
Second.
Move to second and voting, Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 570-21 has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, Office of Aging.
Resolution number 571-21. Resolution authorizing 3 COVID-19 recovery grants to address digital inequity among vulnerable seniors in Franklin County in the amount of $80,585.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Amy Funk, Assistant Director of Administration, and joining me today is Director Orville Johns and Nancy Mayo, Grants Administrator. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an inordinate adverse effect on seniors, especially those are vulnerable economically, culturally, and physically. These adverse effects are exacerbated by the lack of digital resources available to many of our low-income seniors. The 3 grant projects will provide socially and economically disadvantaged seniors living in particularly vulnerable neighborhoods with devices, hotspots, and opportunities to learn and experience the digital world. Digital access will allow these seniors to reduce social isolation, engage in telehealth opportunities, as well as connect to employment and other commercial activities such as e-grocery shopping and transportation, and attend virtual naturalization and citizenship classes. All 3 grant projects will serve seniors in qualified census tracts as defined and delineated by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. 2 of these projects will expand the current digital programming and services provided by Central Community House and Community Refugee and Immigration Services to our clients. The 3rd is a pilot project designed to serve the Hilltop seniors. It is a pilot project replicating Central Community House's wildly successful tech project, but adapted to the needs of the Hilltop community. These grant projects will be in effect from July 1st through December 31st of 2021. If there are no questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 571-21.
Second.
Move to second and voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 571-21 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Community Partnership.
Resolution number 572-21. Resolution authorizing a COVID-19 recovery grant with the Mid-Ohio Food Collective to meet the increased food security needs of Franklin County residents in the amount of $7 million.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dayna McCrary, and I am the Administrator for Community Partnerships. Mid-Ohio Food Collective has been on the front lines for more than 40 years, innovating, expanding, and continually finding the best, most dignified, customer-focused ways to feed our hungry neighbors. The COVID-19 pandemic brought people to food pantries who had never visited them before In fact, the Mid-Ohio Food Collective saw a 28% increase over the same pre-pandemic timeframe. In order to best meet the evolving needs of our hungry neighbors, Mid-Ohio Food Collective envisions creating a new 19,000 square foot addition to its existing warehouse. This addition will be home to a new 14,000 square foot freezer that provides more than 1,000 additional pallet positions, roughly doubling current storage and picking locations. Additionally, this new space will feature a 5,000 square foot cold dock that includes 4 dock doors that will be used exclusively for loading, unloading, staging, and handling perishable foods. This increased capacity will allow Mid-Ohio Food Collective to accept frozen food donations that are currently being turned away, and it will ensure that a greater variety of food is consistently available to its customers. Now, this includes highly coveted items such as meat, plant-based protein, frozen fruits and vegetables, as well as the occasional treat for families such as ice cream and popsicles. The contract with Mid-Ohio Food Collective includes the aspirational goal of 14% of the total cost of services being provided by small and emerging businesses. Joining me today, this morning, I'm very pleased to welcome Matt Habash, who is the president and CEO of Mid-Ohio Food Collective. And Matt is here to give a few remarks as well as answer any questions that the commissioners may have regarding this resolution. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Dana. To President Boyce and to Commissioners O'Grady and Crawley, thank you for this opportunity. This grant continues transformational grant giving that Franklin County Commissioners have engaged with the Mid-Ohio Food Bank for over the last decade. I mean, amazingly enough, when we did our original building, that we're in currently today, the gift and grant from the county commissioners then went to our freezer at that particular location. And it's continued with that on up to today. But during the past decade, you have helped lead the way in about $3.8 million worth of grants that have transformed us in terms of original trucks so we could do far more produce deliveries, launching our very successful produce market campaigns over the year, a beginning of a fresh food is health strategy, which is being modeled around the country from what we started, the Mid-Ohio Pharmacy of really connecting to healthcare, particularly with Primary One Health, and really looking at diabetes for folks that are food insecure and launching that, to most recently launching our Mid-Ohio market strategy. So along the way, over the last decade, you have continued to lead us with transformational gifts that have really been inspirational and have transformed our work. This grant does that again. This grant will transform exactly what we need to do, which is more fresh food, frozen food. And it also, as we build this out, will lower our operating costs going forward, because during the pandemic, we had 500 pallets of frozen food in commercial storage that we were paying rent on. So not having to do those kind of expenses going forward will lower our operating expenses and be able to continue to be sustainable. And last year, I mean, what you did at the end of the year with the $2 million of COVID dollars in relief really set us up for the first 6 months of this year. Had you not done that, we would not have had enough food to carry us over this first half of the 2021 year because some federal programs had ended. So hats off to all of you. I really want to say thank you. And President Boyce, I was feeling some pain last night as I was at City Council doing a rezoning of our farm at 10 o'clock last night. So we brought back some memories of that last meeting in July that I don't like to remember.
Well, thank you, President Habash, for all you do in leading our Mid-Ohio Food Collective. As I shared in briefing, Matt Habash and I served on Columbus City Council back in the day. He was president, and I was a new council member. And I remember engaging in some issues around social services and one of the very first things that you said to me as a sort of lesson in political life, politics, was that the best social service is a good paying job. And if we can create good paying jobs, but also provide the resources that come with that, food, housing, transportation, and all of the things that make your quality of life what it is, then we can really make a difference in Central Ohio. We can really change the narrative. And that's really what this is. This is a substantial investment. I know that people will say $7 million for a freezer, but it's really not a freezer. It's really a warehouse, an institution that will allow us to distribute food all across Central Ohio in an efficient way, in a systematic way that allows people, no matter where you live, no matter who you are, and no matter what your need is, to be able to access the resources that they need to feed their family, which is a fundamental aspect of quality of life. And so thank you for your leadership. I think this is a sound investment. Most importantly, being a finance person, I always think of things in terms of the return on our investment or the leveraged element of it. And this is $7 million, but the impact is multifaceted, meaning that it is part of a broader effort of nearly $30 million to restate the narrative on how we distribute resources in Central Ohio. And there's a lot that comes from it. It's not just the food distribution itself, but it's the system and the connection of resources throughout our community, whether you're a church, a food pantry, or another institution that will distribute resources. This allows that collective to be maximized in the best way that it can so that the families who are in need have the access that they need. And so thank you for the work you do. And I want to sure my colleagues have something to add to that.
No, I don't know that I can follow that. Just thank you for all that you do, and happy to be supportive of what's coming before us. I said in the briefing last week, I understand the need and coming out of the budget, the state budget, understanding and fighting for additional resources for our food pantries and food banks. And so continue to stand in solidarity and just appreciate all that you do for our families in Franklin County.
You know, Matt, you and I have talked many times about the roles that we all play, and as county commissioners, we try to, do all that we can to drive the economy and as Commissioner Boyce says, provide those great paying jobs and do what we can in those areas. But, we also are very much focused on, what we are doing for those that are the least amongst us. And as county commissioners, that's what we do. That's what we are so involved in. And so we've been partners with you for a long, long time. And we will continue to be partners with you for a long time. And, while we have partnered with you on projects throughout the years, my guess is that as this community continues to grow and continues to thrive, because that's the trajectory that we're on, and that's the trajectory that we as a Board of Commissioners, in working with our colleagues at City Hall and in city halls all over our county, that's the trajectory that we continue to be on and continue to put ourselves on. We expect this community to continue to grow and our population to continue to grow. And as that happens, there's going to be more of a need for you and what you do. And as that happens, we're going to continue to, need to make investments with you and your organization. Maybe not going to need to be another freezer, hopefully anytime soon, but there will be other investments. This is, as Commissioner Boyce says, this isn't just a freezer. I mean, that square footage, that's several times larger than my home. But it's we will have many more needs, whether it's freezers or it's the other things that we've done with you guys over the years. And so my guess is that we'll be back here again, in many months or a few years announcing some other sort of partnership that we're doing with you, because those are important. And the folks in our community, as much success as we have and as much growth as we have, we also need to make sure that we're taking care of those folks that aren't coming along quite as quickly with us as others do. And we need to, for the work that you've been doing with us on the poverty blueprint, we need to do all that we can to make sure that the folks that are in that 17% of folks that are struggling in poverty, that number gets reduced, and that people don't have to work 2 and 3 jobs to get ahead. We need to do all that we can to reduce those numbers as much as possible.
Thank you.
If there are no other comments, I move to approve Resolution 57221.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 572-21 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Next is Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 573-21, second amendment to the grant agreement with the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio to administer the Franklin County Skills Boost Program for the recently unemployed in Franklin County in the amount of $500,000.
This is Stephanie Robinson. On behalf of our CEO, Lisa Pat McDaniels, and the Workforce Development Board, we would simply like to ask for an extension up until December the 31st of 2021 so that we can continue to provide those good jobs that were previously discussed for all of our Franklin County residents that have been affected by COVID-19. And so we thank you for this opportunity to be here today.
Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 57321.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 573-21 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 574-21, resolution authorizing the approval of associated agreements for a home loan agreement with the Community Housing Network for the Touchstone Field Place Apartment Housing Project.
Morning, Commissioners. Mark Paxson. On May 18, 2021, by way of Resolution 365-21, Board of Commissioners approved the Touchstone Fields Apartment Housing Project. Resolution will result in construction of 56 one-bedroom unit apartment complex. Project will serve low-income individuals who have histories of homelessness and disability. Project is located on a 6.3 acre site at 2565 Lockbourne Road between Refugee Road and I-270. Party to the approval of the project are 2 supporting documents to the original loan agreement that need to be approved: subordination and non-disturbance agreement, and the pledge assignment and security agreement. Pending questions, I respectfully request approval of this resolution.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I move to approve Resolution 57421.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 574-21 has been adopted. Resolution number 575-21, resolution responding to the notice received concerning proposed tax increment financing district, the Jefferson Park Incentive District in Jefferson Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Josh Roth, Senior Program Coordinator with Franklin County Economic Development and Planning. This resolution concerns a proposed tax increment financing district, which I'll refer to as TIF moving forward. The proposed TIF district in Jefferson Township, the Jefferson Park Incentive District, is proposed for west of Wagoner Road, just south of McOwen Road, and north of Havens Road. The township is seeking to establish this TIF district to support the development of 38 homes on approximately 97 acres. Most of the land is going to be set aside as green space preservation areas, but the intention for the homes constructed is that they'll be $1 million lots. Local jurisdictions are required to notify the board of their intent to establish a TIF district when the rate of exemption exceeds 75%, or when the term exceeds 10 years. This particular proposed TIF district is 100% for 30 years. The schools are going to ultimately be made whole through a compensation agreement. In the past, county social service levy agencies have not been as concerned with mixed use, commercial or industrial TIF districts. However, they have expressed their concern with residential TIFs, and that's because the folks that are ultimately going to be residing in those homes are going to potentially use and rely on their services. Under the Ohio Revised Code, the board has the right to object to rates in excess of 75% and to terms in excess of 10 years. As mentioned previously, this is a 100% proposed TIF district for 30 years. And so we are recommending that the board object to the term of this proposed TIF district so that EDP and staff can ultimately pursue a mutually acceptable compensation agreement. If no mutually acceptable compensation agreement can be met, then the statutory baseline of 0% compensation in years 1 through 10, and then 50% compensation in years 11 through 30 would be provided to the county social service levy agencies. And those would include Adam H., Children's Services, Senior Options, and the like. The lack of an objection here would yield no compensation to those levy agencies from years 0 through 30. So pending any questions, we would ask for a vote in the affirmative to object to the proposed residential TIF.
Any comments, questions? Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 575-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution for 575-21 has been adopted.
Commissioners, it's Director Jim Schimmer. I did want to take a moment out to recognize the fact that Mr. Roth will be leaving Franklin County for a job with CODA. And if you just indulge me for a second, Josh has been with Franklin County for the last 7 years, and he's a guy that has made a lot of the magic happen for economic development and for the county in a number of different ways. And I think he is probably one of the best program development and compliance people that I've come across in my career, and he's really done a fine job. As he just took you through this complicated TIF, I think you can kind of understand that. But in that 7-year period, Josh has put in some fundamental programs, such as SmartWorks, which had a couple of different aspects to it that have survived that program and are still moving forward. And one of those is the infrastructure bank. The infrastructure bank is government-to-government lending. We do that to help out smaller communities that may have projects that are moving forward and need a little assistance right up front. And that program development really was the brainchild of Josh Roth, and it's worked out very well. We could talk about Energy Works as well, but I think a number of the programs that we have put in place are attributable to Josh and his big thinking. The most important one, I believe, that we've done in the last year is the Magnet Fund, where Franklin County is going to be directly involved in the development of affordable housing. Instead of doing 9% oversubscribed tax credits, we were looking at how we could assist the 4% programs. And Josh was in the middle of that mix as well. And so I want to wish him good luck as he moves on to CODA, because he's going to continue his work in the areas of corridor development, transportation development, and really future project development, where we will all be involved together. He has done a masterful job. He's a good man, and he's done a terrific job, and I want to thank him publicly for that. So thank you, Commissioners.
And Commissioners, if I may, I'd like to add to that, Eric Janis, Deputy County Administrator. It's always difficult when you see really young, talented staff grow and move on. And Josh certainly fits the bill. His ability to focus on the details and keep us all on task is the reason that so many of these programs have been successful. You know, when we think about the Magnet Fund and affordable housing, we literally sent Josh to school on this, and he became a subject matter expert within a couple years. And if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be able to execute these programs. So while I know I share with Jim that we are going to miss him terribly, we're really excited for his future success. And we know that we will be working with him in his future role. So Josh, congratulations and good luck to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Director.
I'll just add too, Josh, you're one of the really shining elements of Franklin County and what we do, and you're always thorough. You always come prepared. and you've been great to work with when there has been some challenges or things that we needed to address. And so I just want to wish you good luck at CODA. And, there's so much to do in public transit. And with the growing Central Ohio, I can't think of a better way to support what their needs are by letting one of our best and brightest go there and help elevate their work in the same way that we have been able to utilize your skills. So congratulations, good luck, and Godspeed to you.
Best of luck, Josh. Great stuff. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioners. It's been a pleasure over the last 5 years, and I look forward to working with you all in the future and serving the residents of Franklin County.
I would just say I am sorry that I didn't have an opportunity to work with Josh while he was here, but definitely wish him well and look forward to all that he does at CODA and hopefully partnering with him in that capacity. So good luck.
Okay, resolution number 576-21. Review a petition to annex 1.044 plus or minus acres from Mifflin Township to the City of Columbus, case number annex-26-21.
Commissioners, Jeanine Hummer, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. This resolution is considered an expedited to annex.
Hey, Jenny, Ms. Snap, your connection is bad.
The robot Jenny Snap.
Maybe does Clerk Kindling, does she have to have her screen on to talk? If she turns off her screen?
Commissioner, she can try.
Can you hear me now? Sorry.
No, but still not working.
Jim, Director Schimmer, can you step in here and pinch hit?
I will, thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Sorry about that technical thing. We have a annexation of 1.044 acres from Mifflin Township to the City of Columbus. The case is ANX 26-21. It has met all of the statutory requirements to be annexed from Mifflin Township to the City of Columbus. We would ask for your approval of this annexation this morning.
Seeing no comments or questions or hearing, I should say hearing none, I move to approve Resolution 576-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 576-21 has been adopted.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Jobs and Family Services.
Resolution number 577-21. Resolution approving a subaward agreement with The Ohio State University for the Life Sports Summer Youth Program in the amount of $40,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Turner, Assistant Director. Life Sports is a partnership with the Columbus Recreation and Parks, the Lindy Foundation, and the Columbus Metropolitan Housing Authority, in which youth ages 5 through 14 are offered quality educational, social, and physical activities throughout the summer months. Life Sports provides 8 weeks of full-day in-person programming and includes a combination of social development, instruction in science, health and wellness, and sports activities. Life Sports has recently begun offering place-based services in neighborhoods with a large percentage of low-income families, including services at the new Linden Community Recreational Center. With this initial year of funding, Life Sports will serve no less than 20 TANF-eligible youth. This resolution supports goal number 13 of your Rise Together blueprint. And pending any questions, I request your approval.
Hearing no comments or questions, I move to approve Resolution 577-21.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 577-21 has been adopted. Resolution number 578-21. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Service Director to enter into a sub-grant agreement with the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services for the provision of the Refugee Support Services.
Commissioners, Franklin County is the only county job and family services agency to receive state refugee social services funding. In June of 2019, we were notified that we were awarded additional funds to help eligible newly arrived refugees across the Central Ohio region address challenges and barriers to employment, such as language, education, and work skills. This is the third year of a 3-year ODJFS grant. This resolution authorizes the director to enter into a sub-grant agreement with ODJFS to accept the funds for state fiscal year 2022, as well as enter into any future amendments for the continued provision of refugee social service programming. To date, our Refugee Social Services Collaborative, made up of 4 refugee serving agencies, has enrolled nearly 800 new Americans in services that include workplace English language instruction, basic employability, job placement, and job retention services. And pending any questions, I request your approval.
Any questions? Seeing none, I move to approve Resolution 57821.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 578-21 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Next, purchasing.
Resolution number 579-21, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $3,543,230.46.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry Balanier, Director of Purchasing, presenting this morning with Marlise Wicker, Economic Equity Administrator in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 52 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. And Marlise will provide the SEBE data. Marlise?
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, Commissioners. This week we have, for your consideration, 7 out of 12 eligible purchase orders presented to 6 WBEs, Women Business Enterprises, and 1 Minority Business Enterprise, totaling $109,377.55, which equates to 58% of the eligible purchase order value and 92% of the eligible purchase dollar value. With the following agencies increasing their supplier diversities of goods and services within Franklin County, which include the Recorder's Office, Franklin County Jobs and Family Services, Clerk of Common Pleas, and Domestic Relations Court.
Thank you, Marlise. Pending any questions, Commissioners, we respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I move to approve Resolution 57921.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 579-21 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
That concludes our regular agenda. Are there any generalizations?
No.
There are none, Commissioner, but if I may,
Please.
I just want to remind everyone that briefing session for Thursday, July 29th, and general session of August 3rd have both been canceled. Thank you, Commissioners.
All right. Are there any questions from members of the media?
I have one quick one.
Sure.
Should be easy. On the Mid-Ohio Food Collective Food Bank funding, is that American Rescue Act funds? Yes. Is that where that's coming from?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.